Good morning to all of you. Welcome to this part of the Qlik Analytics Tour. My name is Edwin Willems and I'm here with Jean-François Dirks in our virtual room. So, as I said, this is part of the Qlik Analytics Tour. However, we decided to focus on BI extranets as we see that more and more of our customers are extending their data, their analytics capabilities outside the organization, and that is what we will focus on. First, a practical thing. We will end by around noon. You will see at the right side or left side of your screen a panel. If you have a question, don't hesitate on the spot to dump the question in there, and then we will handle them at the end of the webinar. But first, I would like to recap the business focus of Agilos. So our mission, we are a Qlik partner. Our mission is to help organizations drive growth, innovation, and competitive advantage, but also help you introducing efficiencies and cost savings through a smart use of data and analytics. So we really focus on the business value you can get out of the usage of data, a smart use of data in your organization. Now, we do that in the first place through our services and our expertise. And for that, we use technologies such as Qlik, Microsoft, and Time Extender. The biggest challenge that we see in really all this is really on the data, is on getting access to the data, bringing it together, make it ready to do analytics, and then get business value out of that. And if we look at a couple of numbers, they are quite stunning. On average, we see, and these are global numbers, so they might even be lower in Europe than in the US typically. We see that about 10% of data that is relevant for business decision making is used for analysis. That means there is so much data in the organization or even outside that is not used in decision processes or to help you as a company in run your business better. What is even more scary is that of executives that were surveyed, about only one third say they can really create value out of data. That means there is plenty of data, but 2/3 doesn't know how to turn your data really into business value, how to have an impact on your organization. And of course, to do that, people need to be able to work with data. They need to be data literate. That means be able to read data in reports or in dashboards in KPIs, to read data, analyze, argue with data, collaborate, and then finally do something with it. So turn it into an action. These are all very low percentages. So the upside is that the opportunity to do that is really big. But we do have a long way to go. So the opportunity is really on, and that is where we come in as a company, as Agilos, is how can we help you in getting from your raw data, making it so integrating all the data, making it analytics ready. It can be through a data warehouse or through just a modern data estate. Do analytics on that, which might be reporting, dashboarding, and so on. And then finally, making sure that the business user can use it within his processes. So can make decisions, can drive actions, or introduce the outcome of the analytics within business processes, or even extend it beyond the organization in extranets. So we cover the whole supply chain, going from the data integration, making data ready, the analytics, and then finally turning it into actions and having an impact on your business. We all know about the different generations. So it started very centrally, BI, where IT was really king, and controlled the reporting. Then we moved to a decentralized approach where business units started to have or to use their own tool. Here it is mentioned decentralized, but what it actually was quite a bit of anarchy, data anarchy, where you had different versions of the truth, business units doing their own thing, and IT was just watching it happen. And what we see now is more a democratized approach, which is still to a large extent decentralized, but with a strong governance function. A governance function that is most of the cases controlled by IT to make sure that data is interpreted in the right way, that there is tools working together and so on. But there is a very component missing here, and that is what we see happening in many of our customers. And that are the small bullets. Maybe the text is a bit small, but I'll read it for you. In the 3 bullets that you see to the right, you can see customers, business partners, and citizens. And that is what we mean with BI extranets. So more and more organizations, also in Belgium, Luxembourg, what we see happen, companies are opening up analytics towards their customers and give, let's say, create a separate business by opening that to customers, or give their customers a better service by giving them access to analytics that are relevant for your customers. Or they introduce within their supply chain efficiencies by integrating their business partners, for instance, their suppliers, giving them access to analytics that they used to have in their company, but opening it up to suppliers to drive cost efficiencies. Or in the case, if you're a government organization, opening data, opening analytics to citizens. And that is really what we see happening. And I challenge each and every one of you to consider where are you in your organization in the maturity of deploying business analytics and really in leveraging data. Are you in first, second, or third generation, or maybe even already extending it towards other users outside the organization? Now, before I hand over to Jean-François, I would like to highlight 3 key differentiators of Qlik, of which one really is an enabler for BI extranets. So the first one is the associative model. Most of you will know the associative model of Qlik, so I won't talk any further about that in this in my session. Second one is the approach of Qlik in leveraging AI, in leveraging machine learning. So Qlik has decided to add machine learning within the engine, the analytics engine of Qlik, so that everybody can benefit from it. And again, Jean-François will talk more about it. And the third one, and that is important for BI extranets, Qlik has an open architecture that enables you to embed the analytics and bring it to the point of decision. That means if an end user is using, for instance, a CRM application, and he wants to have a 360-degree view of the customer, well, if you can embed your analytics within your CRM application, you can get, as an end user, as a business user, that view on your customer while you are dealing with him. So it is important to be able to embed it within the processes, the business processes of a user. And also for extranets, in the case of an extranet, the user is not inside the organization, but might be a customer or a supplier. Well, Qlik, thanks to the open architecture, the analytics platform of Qlik, or just Qlik Sense, you can give access to your analytics outside of the organization. And again, that is a very important component in getting more business value out of the data, out of the analytics you have in your company. And with that, I would like to hand over the word to Jean-François.
Okay, Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. So we will now move a little bit after this introduction towards the actual solution that we propose. As you know, the solution that we propose here is Qlik, and well, there are several reasons why this solution is particularly fit to Extranets solutions, as Edwin already mentioned. So I will just go to the next slide in my presentation. So one of the things that we have here in Qlik is that Qlik is a solution that actually is quite different in the way it treats the data towards other solutions, and that makes this tool also very fit for I would say for flexible needs. So what I mean by that is that usually when you access data, you need to set up queries, you need to work with subset of data, you need to ensure in advance that your data is structured in such a way that you can actually perform analysis on it, or that you can actually provide data to a specific report layouts and so on. The point is that Qlik is based on an associative engine, and the associative engine allows to broaden the way you're going to be able to combine information. And that is, of course, very important also for Extranets, because usually when you want to disclose data towards to the outside, it is usually data that has that is combining several sources of data. It could be data that you have inside your company that you want to combine with data that comes from outside the company, and you want to make sure that you can provide to the people that need to access that data the correct the correct information and associate it in the right way. Now, the Qlik associative engine is very powerful and allows you really to build up association in a very flexible way. And with flexible, we mean that when something changes in the underlying data sources, or if you have new needs in your Extranet, you will be able to react very quickly and to implement those changes directly inside your solution. So that's what this associative engine brings to the solution. Now, the engine is also very powerful because it works in memory, so it gives really very quick response time for the end user. So as the end user will be able to move from one point to another, he will not need specific training because it works like the human brain. When he associates information, he just clicks on the information and he will get it on the screen. So that will make also the interface very intuitive for extranet users, which are typically users that are not BI users, or users that are used to use those kind of tools, but they could be also occasional users, and that's certainly true for extranets that are open to the public. So that's why it is important to have this capability. And next to that, of course, well, Qlik has evolved a lot on the matter of what they call augmented intelligence or augmented analytics, which means actually that the system will intuitively combine a lot of automated things together with the cognitive engine, so that the end user will have an experience in visualization the data that takes into account machine learning, that takes into account advanced analytics where needed, that will bring on the screen some information that might not be predefined, but that is actually helping him to understand the data. So that's the cognitive engine that you have inside Qlik, and this will bring towards interfaces like a chatbot, like suggestions of visuals based on data, like self-service enablement of the people, and all these kind of things. Now, this capability is useful also for the people that need to maintain the extranets, because they will be much more agile in responding to the changing needs of their environment. So that's also the important point that you have there. And the third one is what Edwin explained in his last slide also, is the point that the technology can be embedded very easily at the place where you need it. And that's typically necessary for extranets. Usually when you provide an extranet to a third party, well, actually you want to make sure that you provide all the services you need to provide to that third party through that extranet. So that means, of course, you want to disclose data. That's why you have this BI extranet. But you might also need to propose some interaction with your third party, so that you can also fulfill some operational needs. And the BI solution needs to be fully integrated in this workflow. It needs to be fully integrated in, I would say, the day-to-day interfaces that you have in relationship with your BI extranet target group. So by integrating seamlessly inside websites, inside applications, well, the solution that we propose will really be adequate to your needs. So that's why the solution that we propose is it's quite strong and quite fit for an extranet deployment. Good. A few words about this the technology itself, which is Qlik Sense. As you know, Qlik Sense allows you to do a lot of things. It allows you to access data from different sources. So if you have an operational system, like for instance an invoicing system that is running on an ERP like SAP, you might have some information that is gathered inside the data lake, or that is included in some cloud applications, like your Salesforce application, and you would like to combine all this information so that for instance, you want to disclose invoicing information to your customers. Well, Qlik will help you to combine all this information, to prepare the information, to create the visuals that you need towards your audience, and actually to integrate that inside different type of interactivity for your end users. So it could be through a website, it could be inside a mobile solution, completely embedded in an existing application. You can include also all the alerting services into it, so that if, for instance, your extranet users need to be alerted when something changes, they might not be every day inside the application because it's an extranet, so it might be occasional. So you want to make sure that when the data is important, well, the people get alerted to it. The self-service part is quite interesting also, because it will allow you to perform self-service analysis for your internal people inside the organization, or maybe even for your extranet users when you require it. Also important, of course, and that's why we have this associative and cognitive engine, is that you want to make sure that the interactivity is very natural. It works in a natural way, so that the end user doesn't need to be an expert or to follow training to consume it and to use it. Now, the technology itself, Qlik Sense, has evolved quite a lot in the last months and years. So you see here some examples of things where the solution has made some evolutions. Of course, you have the cognitive engine that allows you to search and to find back information very quickly. You will find alerting mechanisms to be pushed to the end user. You have a lot of new visualizations, and maybe this is something I can quickly show you before we move to the actual extranet solutions themselves. So let me show you some of the new features that you will find inside Qlik Sense. So if you're interested in the new features inside Qlik Sense, Well, actually, you have new capabilities that come out in QlikSense 5 times a year. And the good thing, of course, is that if you use that technology and embed that inside your extranet, well, because it's on a centralized server, you can very quickly move towards those latest features and integrate them inside your solution. So there are 5 releases a year. This document that you see here on the screen is actually available also publicly, so you can have a closer look to this application from yourself. But it explains a little bit the new things that you will find in the June release, in the September release, in the April release. So a lot of different capabilities that you will find there. So, for instance, one of the things that you will find there that makes the visualization quite strong is the inclusion of different spark lines and visualizations inside the tables. So this visual representation is important, and that's also why it's always evolving inside Qlik. If you want to show data to extranet users, of course, what you want is that the people can get information at a glance. They don't have the time to analyze a lot of numbers, a lot of detailed sheets and things like that. So they want to be alerted, and they want to see in one shot how the data is evolving. So that's why these spark lines, when you see here, or bar lines, will allow you to visually see, for instance, what the evolution is of a certain KPI based on specific dimensions. So here, for instance, you could have this as one of your, let's say, for instance, you are a retail vendor, and you have some suppliers, and you need to report to your suppliers how the sales of their different products are going. Well, typically you would use that kind of visual where they can see the details of the sales by product, so on a specific dimension, and they see directly if the sales are going up or down for specific products. And of course, because you are in QlikSense, well, you can make your selection, you can make your associations, and dive into the details by making those selections. So the interactivity is directly inside this visual. So this is one example of the new things that you find in the June release. You have some other things like different types of charts that were added into the visualizations, like this bullet chart that you see here. Also some improvements on the line chart, the way you're going to visualize the data in a smart way, the way you're going to format things in a pie chart. Also different types of visualizations like this one, an organization chart could be very useful. So you see, you have quite a lot of capabilities. It's not the purpose today to really dig into the details, but you see also on the geographical charts, you can work with multiple layers within the same map. You can add also on the filter pane a frequency count. So you see, if you're used to Qlik, you will see that these evolutions are coming really several times a year, and you will directly be able to use them inside your applications, because they are part of the core solution, which is QlikSense. So if you're interested in some other of these new things, feel free to have a look at this application. They are available on the Demo Qlik website, and we will provide in the presentation that you get after this presentation a link towards the application if you're interested. So that's the things that you find in the current application. Now, of course, one of the things also that this is I would say more like the different versions that you have inside the existing environment. But of course, if you want to manage data that comes from multiple sources, also one of the things that that is quite useful is that you're going to prepare your data and store them inside a specific format that is called QVD format. For those who know Qlik, it's a format that is optimized to work in memory. And often when organizations are setting that up, well, they will have a lot of data that they need to manage. And one of the things also that is new in the environment is that you have the ability to access a data catalog. So it's called Qlik Data Catalog, and one of the things that it allows is that, especially when you work on self-service, well, you have the ability to access this data from a catalog. So to give you an example here, I will start from an application to build up an application. So that would be for the person who is preparing the extranet and wants to add some new data towards the customers or towards the extranet users. And what you will have here is that you will have the ability to select the data, but instead of having to go to all the different data sources and databases like an Oracle database or an ERP system or all this kind of thing, you will be able also to access a catalog. So what is a catalog? Well, it actually allows you to have all the data that has already been gathered and prepared inside the organization, that is classified, that is organized, and you can find back the information. You can search through the catalog. For instance, here, if I'm interested in information about e-commerce, well, I will find all my QVDs that are available about e-commerce. So let's say, for instance, I would be interested in customer data. Okay, that's interesting, and I want also information about about products and what these customers are ordering. So I will search for orders. I will find information about header and detail of orders, and well, that's the information that I need. So just by selecting those QVDs, well, actually the system will allow me to provide automatically, also to make the link between those data completely automatically. That's what you see here, and to load the information directly inside QlikSense. So by doing that, I have my data that is directly available, and that's also where you find the cognitive engine that can be useful, because once I have selected the data, I can start using it directly by asking the engine, it's the cognitive engine, to provide me insights on that. And also the insight engine is made a little stronger also, because it will propose of course a lot of visuals from scratch. So if I'm interested in a bar chart, I can add this one. If I'm interested in other views, I can add this one to my sheets. I can also help the system to understand how the data works. For instance, here, if I want to modify this sheet, well, actually I can. So this view is interesting, but actually the sum of sales amount is not really what I would be interested in. So actually I can ask to have information about the costs. So I would like to be interested in the cost amount by product name or by product category. And you see that by typing things here, it will, so what is the cost amount by product name for last year? So I'm typing information in this, and the system will help me actually to interpret this. And I will be able to when I search this information, the system will show me the visuals that correspond directly to my search. So I don't need to technically know the data behind. So this is what you find in the cognitive engine. It will also learn from it. So if I say no, this is not a dimension, this is a measure. For instance, here, no, the cost amount is a measure, or the category should be classified differently. I can help the system to better understand, and as a result, I will have inside my sheet all the data that I have selected in my insight. So that's how you set up how you set up the data. I forgot to click on the link to add a field. So let me do it again. So I want the cost amount by product category. There we are. I want to search for it, and this time I will click add this to my new sheet, so that it's directly added inside my sheet. Now, if I go back to my sheet, you will see that the visualization has been added automatically inside the sheet, and I can start to interact with the data that I have inside the sheet by, again, making selections. So that's what you have in the core engine, the QlikSense engine. Now, based on that, of course, we would be interested also to give some more interactivity to the end users. We had customers, and typically also an Extranet customer, who said, "Well, yes, that's fine. We have our users that are viewing, our customers or our partners that are viewing data inside the portal." But we would like also for these people in the portal to request some additional information or to add some comments to what they see on the screen. So they would like to interact with the visuals that they see on the screen. Now, because you are integrated in a web portal, you can of course program a lot of things inside the web portal itself. So you can with Java programming you can integrate that, and well, actually QlikSense itself allows also to build content that is pre-programmed. We call that extensions, so that you have that type of features that is directly available. Now, the extensions allow you to have the different types of visuals. So let me show you some of these examples here of more basic extensions that are available. So if we go here and we look inside the application itself, so let me open the application here. This is a QlikSense application that contains some visualizations that are using extensions. For instance, viewing KPIs in this format, or viewing a radar chart that can be viewed like that, or looking at an employee hierarchy, but based on this type of visualization. So all these visuals are things that are visual extensions that you can also leverage inside your Extranet solution. These can include also visualization inside maps, but also you will also see that in this application you might want to have this interactivity, as I said before. And one of the extensions that you could also add, it's one that we've talked about in one of our earlier webinars. It's the extensions that come from Vislip. So Vislip is a partner from Qlik. And actually, by adding extensions from Vislip, you can do some interesting things. And one of the things that I wanted to highlight here is the write back capability, because this is something that is often requested by users that would like to interact with the data itself. The write back actually allows you to add, for instance, comment inside the table. So this table is a table that comes from a Qlik data set. But I want to add, for instance, a toggle to change some data, a checkbox, or say here, this is my new comment. And by actually entering and writing back this information inside the application, it's directly extending the data that I have already here. So if I go to the table that is behind, well, you will see that the new comment is directly part of the data set. It's actually writing it back either towards an application or towards a QVD file or towards an additional configuration file. So it will allow you, for instance, to enable your Extranet users to change some configuration inside your Extranet application without having to build a full web interface to enable this configuration. So this is an extension that can be integrated directly in Qlik and directly inside your Extranet. So this makes your Extranet also very easy to maintain, to adapt, because you don't need to have advanced programming skills to do these things. So that's one of the extensions you have. Good. A last one I wanted to talk about is also the chatbot. You remember that you can integrate QlikSense inside mobile application quite well because it is completely responsive. So the way the dashboard will be shown inside a mobile application will be adapted to the screen, which is again very useful for an extranet. And the chatbot will allow you even to have conversation with the system, so that you can, for instance, from within a chat interface, directly discuss with the application, so that you would type in here, for instance, show me the sales for Philadelphia. You see that by typing in some data, it will provide directly the results inside your mobile device. And the way you add your conversation is just by typing clear text. Now this functionality is integrated inside QlikSense, and will be in a future release of Qlik, will be fully part of the cognitive engine. So this is really something that might also make your extranet more modern and I would say more easy to use for an end user perspective. Good. That's for the chatbots. So let me move now towards the subject of this presentation more in detail, which is the BI extranets. So I think the best way to talk about extranets is to give you some examples and customer cases that we have. But before I start with that, let me shortly explain what type of extranets you could actually serve by using this technology. Because an extranet can actually, you have different types of extranets. The one that we see most among our customers is actually the public extranet. So what is a public extranet? Actually, it's a kind of website that is freely available, and that will provide interactive insights. And we have a lot of public institutions that are actually providing those websites and those extranets to the citizen, to the public. And of course, because it is usually an occasional user who will access this extranet, it is very important that the extranet is easy to navigate, like you would do on a website. You don't want to have training. You want to make sure that when you connect to the extranet, it's directly clear how you can interact with it and how you can analyze the data. Now, those public extranets sometimes have so they are freely accessible, but they could have some parts that are secured, so that as I would say, public users, you would see some general dashboards, and then when you log on to the system, you would be authenticated, and you would then only have access to you wouldn't have access to some more detailed information that is more confidential, but that is completely secured and adapted to the data access you have. So you can have a combination of public access and secured access. Now, next to those public extranets, we also have extranets that you can provide to well-identified third parties. So these could be partners if you want to strengthen the relationship between different partners. Well, you're going to provide analytic capabilities in order to so that, for instance, your partner can evaluate the quality of your partnership. One of the example would be, for instance, a supplier extranet, in which you're going to provide to your supplier some information about how the sales of their products are going well. Or you could have we have also partner extranets where you have partnerships between medical institutions, doctors and different hospitals, and they want to work together and view statistics. So again, they're going to work together, and it's very important in that case that the access is secured, because you want to make sure that people only can access the data they are allowed to see. But some parts of the data could be shared, because if you work in a partnership, you might be interested in common information. Another type of extranet would be towards your customers. in that case, for instance, if you have 5 different customers, well, you want to make sure that each of the customer only can access their own data. You don't want to mix the data within the extranet. So that means the data should be treated confidentially, and you want to make sure that it is completely separate, that customer 1 only sees the invoices of customer 1 and customer 2 only sees the invoices of customer 2. Now, all these different type of extranets, be they free or be they secured, can actually be deployed using the technology that we propose here, which is the Qlik technology. And let me give you a few examples of implementations that our customers have done using using this technology. So the first one, it's one that is quite actual in the where you have a lot of people that might be interested, is the COVID-19 dashboard that has been recently released by the European Center of Disease and Prevention Disease Prevention and Control. So this is an European agency. So they have links with the European the European community and the Commission, but they are not part. It's not a specific directorate, but they have one of the things they need to do is they're going to collect all the data of all the member states, and they want to report on diseases in order to enable disease prevention and better control. And so one of the things that they have deployed is this dashboard. So if I click here on the link that we see here, we will get access to this dashboard, which is completely public. So you can go to this website for yourself. You will see the same interface. And this is a dashboard that will show you the evolution of the COVID-19. So you have some statistic about that, but with the full interactivity. So because you are here in Qlik Sense, you can make your selections, and by making your selections, you will directly see the details that will follow your selection. So this is a global view that you have here. You can make the selections or select specific countries, or you can remove the selection to have a global view like this. Select a specific continent. I would be interested in what's happening in Africa. Okay, let's focus on what's happening in Africa. I want to compare some countries, so you have the ability to view how the countries are comparing one compared to another. This is a top 5, or I want to look only at the European countries and selecting some specific countries that needs to be compared with each other. So by making your selection, your dashboard will show how for instance here the number of reported cases. I selected a bit too much. Let's say we take Belgium. Well, you will see here, and you want to compare Belgium towards the Netherlands. Well, I will combine 2 different countries and see how the number of case, average number of case evolve over time. So you see it's very similar for the different countries. But you might have you can change the moving average window if you want to get a history of that is closer. So you see that this graph is adapting to that. Different types of visualization. So you see it's going quite far, and you have the full interactivity. Once you have the information you are interested in, you have the ability to export the data into a CSV file so that you can work with it externally and so on. So you see, very nice dashboard, extranet dashboard. It is completely free to access. Typically, what we have also in this dashboard is that you see that some buttons are simplified for an end user. I have a reset selection button, which is not in the standard Qlik interface, but it has been implemented here in this website. I can look at what are my current selections instead of having the bar. It is shown like in a website. I have a help that explains me how I can navigate inside the selections. So you have all these things that are part of the actual website. Good. So this is an example of a completely public website. Now we also have another European institution, which is called the Joint Research Center, which is part of the European Commission, who is actually performing and gathering different data, so gathering different data from the member states, so not only about diseases in this case. Of course, they have link also with the COVID-19, so they work together with the European Center of Disease Control, but they report on a lot of different other topics, like, for instance, agricultural stuff, or economical stuff, or things about sustainability and about jobs, employment, and things like that. So if you go to this website of the Joint Research Center, also here it's a website that is using mashups. So that means that you are integrated inside the website like this, and inside the website you will find the results of all data sets and all studies. And there are quite a lot of studies that are available in there. And for each of those studies, you have the ability to actually do some further analysis. For instance, here, if we take the free trade agreement study, which is a specific study, and I click here on dashboard, well, I'm going to the website of this study, but inside the website of this study, inside the page of this study, which has it looks like a website, as you can see, well, you have those different components that come from a ClickSense application, with still the ability to interact with it. So if I want to focus on some specific countries here, well, actually the other visuals in my website will follow this selection, because I made this selection. You see that I selected specific regions, and I want to change the scenario type, for instance, or I want to combine this with a specific group of type of products, type of foods. Again, by making this selection, you see that you have the full interactivity inside the website. So when we say you provide data in an extranet, and this is a good example of that, well, actually, you don't see that you're using Qlik behind. You're actually connecting to an extranet. In this case, also it is a public extranet, but this public extranet, you also have the ability to log in to this system. And when you perform a login, well, you will get access to more data than just the data that you see here. So there is a part that is completely public, but you have the ability, and that is typical here. So if I log on here to the website and I sign in with my email address, well, actually I will have more data that is available inside on this website. And typically, for instance, you would have some studies that are already available, but that are not yet published to the public. Well, you will still be able, if you are, for instance, a person that needs to work on that survey, you will be able also to use this extranet to look into the dashboards of that survey or of that interface, but directly on the website, because you logged on to the website and you are in a secured environment. So a website can be public, or can be requiring a login. Here it's a combination of both that you find at the JRC. Now the JRC published, as you can see, they publish a lot of dashboards. There is one about the PanApp Navigator, one about the biomass flow, one about jobs calculator, and so on. And of course, what is important if you want to manage and maintain extranets is to understand how people are using your extranet. And actually, what they did is, because they are a research center, well, actually, they did the research on their website. So they also developed a dashboard that is called usage statistics, and that is actually showing inside the website. So it's one of the dashboards that you will find inside the JRC website, but it will tell you who is actually connecting to this website, who is actually using those dashboards. And because it's an internet website, well, actually, you know, for instance, in this case, where does the people connect from? So you see most of the people that connect to those websites are coming from Europe, but you have people here from the US, from Washington. Maybe that's Donald Trump, who is trying to understand some data that is happening here in Europe. So you can also, because this is interactive, you can of course make selection here, or you can. One of the things you can do also in this dashboards is so if I close this one, is to make a selection on a specific period of time. I want to focus. You see that the COVID dashboard is the one that is accessed most. They have 3,500 accesses. So you see that there is a lot of interest in pandemic data, and there are not much interest in the dashboard about Kenya. So if you look at the dashboard here about Kenya, is SGTS. Well, you see that people that are connecting are actually coming from Kenya, but also some people from the European Commission, and even some people from Asia that are actually accessing that dashboard. So you see, an extranet can also be used to actually provide information about an extranet. Well, some other public extranets, you find this one is for the DG Mare. It's about sea and what's happening around that. So you will also have information that is publicly available in there. And actually, at the European Commission, you have a lot of extranet that are available. You will see the links there. They are all freely available, so you can have a look at them if you're interested. Now, next to those public extranets, there are also some partner extranets. So one of our partners, one of our customers is called CIBES, is the interdisciplinary center for benchmarking in the healthcare sector. Here I cannot show you a live version because you need to be connected, you need to be authenticated to access the data. But there is a small video here that you can see. Let me show you into detail what you have there. I'll move a bit more quickly in there. So you see that inside this extranet, actually it will allow the different hospitals to connect to the CIBES. So they are actually, the hospitals are providing statistical data that is gathered by the CIBES, and the hospitals are connecting to the system and will be able to look into how they are positioning themselves. It's the red block that you see here towards the other hospitals. So they know for a specific KPI where they are compared to the other hospitals. Of course, it's very important in that case that each hospital that connects only sees data from his own hospital and does not see the details of the other hospital. For benchmarking, it's important to see where they are located, and we have the full interactivity on that. But of course, they are not allowed to analyze the details of the other hospitals. So that's why the security there is very important. You need to be authenticated to be able to access this information. And depending on your login, you will only see the data of yourself and maybe some common data like the benchmarking information that you see here in the application. And you see that you can export the data, for instance, here towards Excel by just clicking here on that little button that you see here on the right. Well, when you're viewing the data inside the extranet, it's actually exporting the data towards Excel so that you can work locally with the data later on. You have the same thing in the other extranets that I've shown. You have always the ability to export and to allow people to actually, for instance, integrate that data with some other data that they would have locally. So that's also one of the features you can provide inside your extranets. Good, that's about the partner extranets. We also have customers extranets. Now, because they contain confidential data, we are not allowed to show you actually what the content of these extranets are. But I give you 3 examples here of extranets that our customers are using. One of them is actually a customer that is providing information about their invoices towards their customers, so that the customers themselves can connect. So it's usually corporate customers. They connect to the extranet, and they can then analyze their invoice data, understand where is their highest expense, in which department that they have the highest expense and things like that, and so that they can optimize their own expense. So it's actually a service that you give to your customer And so why are companies doing that? Well, actually, because they want, this is a service they can provide to their customers that they maybe can sell to their customers so that they have added value, or that they can use as a differentiator towards competition. Because other companies are not providing that service. So that's something that can be used in customer extranet. Another example of customer extranet that we have is where it's a service provider that provides a specific service through the cloud, and actually they provide an extranet so that the data that is gathered in this service, in this cloud service, well, actually this data can be very useful to their customers, because they can use it to optimize their business, so that they can analyze the information. So they provide a service through an extranet that allows you to analyze the numbers of that service. You see that typically, for instance, if you're using Google, well, you will have Google Analytics that will give you some insights about the service from Google that you're using. Well, here it's quite similar, but it could be actually be used in any type of business. Of course, as soon as you want to provide data, if you have data from your customers, well, you can provide this data to your customers to give them added value. Another real-life example is one of our customers, which is called Gevers. It's a company that is actually providing help to register your patents. So if you have you want to patent some specific products or some specific intellectual property, well, you're actually asking Givers to enter a file for that towards different instances, European instances, and so on. And then, well, they provide to an extranet a follow-up of their request. So to see, has it already been approved? Are there other competitors with similar patents and things like that? So that their customers will be able to do the follow-up through an extranet interface. So you see different examples of customer extranets. Of course, there are way more capabilities, but that will give you some ideas about the things that we can do. I see that we are running out of time. Well, I propose to wrap up here and maybe to open to some questions if there are some questions. We've shown you that the technology that you can use behind the extranet, because it's very agile, because of this associative engine and augmented analytics, and the ability to embed inside application, well, it makes it very possible to provide, very easy to provide to third parties using extranets, well, this data as an added value. It can be to customers, to partners, or even to citizens, or whatever audience that you might find useful to provide your information to. Good. Are there some questions? Edwin? Yeah, maybe if you want to start an extranet project, feel free to contact Agilos, because we have quite some experience in that, so we can help you to guide to choose the right approach and how to start that project. So feel free to contact us for that.
Yeah.
Are there any questions, Edwin? Yes.
Yeah. First question I had is on security. So how is security managed for public dashboards?
Yes, that's an important point, because it is not because your dashboard is public that it should not be secured. So I have a small echo on my talk. I don't know where it comes from. Apologies for that. But what I was saying is that you can actually. It's very annoying, this echo. Sorry about that. So what you can do is actually secure your system completely, so that well, one of the first thing, of course, is that we're using SSL, so encryption to communicate within the extranet, so that you have the ability to ensure that no one can actually get the data in between. And as I said, it's not because an extranet is public that that there might not be confidential data in there, and that's why we work with an authentication mechanism that is completely integrated. So if you use a web authentication, you can use that authentication to actually link that to the security that is defined in Qlik, so that you are sure that only the people that are authorized to access some of the information will only access that information, even if the extranet is public itself. So you can combine a public access with an authenticated, secured part of the data inside that public accessible extranet.
Okay, thank you, Jean-François. So then I got several questions on licensing, and I'll handle those before we wrap up. So several people asking what kind of licenses do I need with my existing license? Can I extend it to an extranet? So I'll take that one. So you have two ways of using Qlik for BI extranets. The first one, if you are on the professional analyzer model, that means a professional user is a user who has full capability with Qlik Sense. An analyzer user, he can use dashboards, consult dashboards. Well, an analyzer user can be extended to external users. That means that if you have a certain number of customers, for instance, you have 20 customers you want to give access to, then you can use the analyzer users for building a customer extranet using those licenses. There is a second way to build extranets with Qlik, and that's with QAP, which is the Qlik Analytics platform. And that is, for instance, used for public extranets, because there you don't know who and how many users are going to access your extranet, and it might be a very high number. So in that case, Qlik has what is called the Qlik Analytics platform, and that is a license that enables you to build an extranet, to have it integrated, for instance, in websites, as you've seen in the demo of Jean-François, and that basically allows you to extend QAP to a basically unlimited number of external users. So with that, I would like to wrap up the webinar. In case you missed the beginning, a recording of the webinar will be put online within a couple of days and accessible through our website. If you have further questions, don't hesitate to call us or drop us a message. And by that, I want to close and thank you all for your participation. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye.
Bye.